All right. Yeah. Obviously, didn't coach or play well enough against Marshall in order to win that game. Credit goes to them. I thought they played very, very well. Coach Gibson had them ready to go and did a nice job. But our challenge is to make sure that we're ready to go and play a very good James Madison team at their place. And I think that our guys are going to be up for the challenge. So, questions?
When it came to Del Rio Wilson and his ability to be a dual threat, in your mind, did their record walking in not indicate how good they really were?
Yeah, I think I said that numerous times going into it. I mean, the two games that two of the games they lost, they were winning by double digits in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, they probably should have pulled both those games out. Good football team. He's a good player, and I thought he played well in the game. Thought he played very tough and physical, and he took a little bit of a pounding, and he still kept making some plays. So.
Coach Gibson took over play calling duties during the bye week. With that change, was there anything different in the defense that maybe caught you off guard, or was
No, I mean it was kind of what we knew that there was going to be something different coming off the bye week and things like that. It was one of the scenarios in which we'd planned for. Going back, we'd gone back and we'd looked at a lot of tape from their 2024. His 2024 season and at North Carolina State. So, they didn't, they might have changed maybe a couple patterns on how they called it, but they didn't change what they were calling. Do you understand what I'm saying there? Obviously he did a great job and that's his forte and they executed and we didn't, and we needed to have a couple other plays and things like that, but it was one of the scenarios of which we kind of thought about.
A lot of the mistakes from the Marshall game seem very uncharacteristic of this team that they've shown throughout the past couple of weeks of the season. How do you game plan, considering that you really haven't seen many of those mistakes this year?
I mean, you're not going to game plan to a negative outcome, right? You're not game planning thinking to myself, okay, well, what if they make this mistake? No, you're gonna trust your players. You're going to trust the coaches to get it fixed. Trust your players to execute, and just like they have, like you said, for the majority of the year, and then go out there. Yeah, we made some mistakes that we haven't normally made, but again, in terms of Marshall, they took advantage of those mistakes, and I think that's part of the story that doesn't get talked about enough in college football. We all want to talk about the negatives that happen in games and always want to talk about what went wrong. And the reality of it is they took advantage of some of our mistakes, and that's a key part of this game.
How do you address that with your offense and your defense in terms of telling your offense to be more guarded against those mistakes and your defense to be ready to defend against those?
Yeah, you brought up even the way you worded it is an interesting issue with mistakes in football. Is you don't necessarily want to be guarded, or you don't necessarily want to defend, because at that point you can play very passive. And if you play passive, that's kind of the things that can beget more mistakes, right? You can't play out of control, but you can't drive past. You can't be passive. I said drive because I'm thinking about like driving. When I'm teaching my son driving. If he's driving around, he's going 80 miles an hour everywhere, we're going to have a problem, right? It's too aggressive, probably learned behavior, but it'd be too aggressive. But if he's driving around 40 miles an hour everywhere, he's still putting himself at risk, right? And not merging quick enough and not turning fast. Like, you're still putting yourself at risk. So, there's that line of getting up to the point where you've got to play. You still have to play aggressive. You can't play guarded and those sort of things. That's a thing that, as we talk about the mistakes, it's the reason why when I talk about the mistakes, I want to talk about them in a positive manner, meaning how do I correct that, not what did you do wrong. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's not. It's all right. Well, we need to get our near foot, near shoulder in the ground here. Not, hey, don't miss that tackle. right? And there's a huge difference on how to coach those two things.
Is it also easier to reset like that as you go into play JMU now? You talk about not being passive, but staying on top of it.
I think our team was ready to reset shortly after that game ended. I think they knew that we didn't play our best game, we didn't coach our best game, and everybody was ready to go reset shortly thereafter that. It was a quiet plane ride, and I think there was a lot of people self-reflecting. There was a lot of people watching the tape and not being very happy with what they were seeing. I got some text messages from guys telling me that isn't going to happen again and things like that. So, I didn't have my phone was in airplane mode, so I didn't get them until after. But, I mean, it certainly is one of those things where I think our team was ready to reset very shortly thereafter.
Does that also show the maturity of this particular team? Had that ever happened in the past?
Yeah, it's happened from some guys, probably more on this one than others. I think that, maturity is a funny thing. I mean, the one thing about it is, at least I hope this is true, because if so, I'm going to be pretty disappointed, and I think my wife is too, but I hope you continue to mature, right, and get older, right? I hope this isn't my peak, because good God, sorry, Jen. But, I think that it's one of those things where it's you continue to mature. And I think that that's one of the, at times we talk about maturity like it's, okay, well, now they're as mature as they're going to get. And I think it's a continual growth process.
James Madison, elite defense. Their offense has gotten off to slow starts a little bit this season. They've outscored their G5 opponents 66-10 in the second half of games. Mm-hmm. What do you see out of James Madison?
Well, I mean, you hit some things. I mean, they have a very good offense and a very explosive offense. Their quarterback's he's a really good player. He gives these guys chances on deep balls. Number 13 there's made quite a few plays. Obviously, he caught 3 touchdowns last week. The one was a really, really, really well-designed play that, he was pretty open. But he did track the ball well on that play and remarkably well, actually, because when a ball starts to hang in the air for more than 50 yards, it can get kind of hard to catch. But he also made some other plays, and the quarterback delivered it. They've got a big offensive line that has quite a bit of experience. They've got really a 3-headed monster at running back, although one guy's been kind of dinged up, but he's a good player. They and those guys can catch out of the backfield, but they can also run the ball. Their tight ends are physical players, but they also make plays in the passing game, and they get them open on doing some things too. And shoot, they've even made plays. The one tight end's even had 2 fake punt first downs. They're a talented offense. Defensively, they're very aggressive. They play very aggressive. They blitz aggressive, but they play coming downhill. The kids do. They play with a bunch of fire and passion. And they feed off of making negative yardage plays and things like that. So it's going to be a good challenge for us. I think our guys are ready to get back out there. I mean, I think it showed last night when, we practiced last night, right? I mean, outside, we don't have an indoor, so. And I'm glad we don't. Best rain team in the country, and we showed it last night because it was a nor'easter out there last night, and it was. I loved the energy that our guys had, but it wasn't fake hype and whatever. We were still getting better at the things that we wanted to get better at that practice. It was a short practice, but we got better at some very key skills.
Is this team seeing stretch run now to go, okay? I mean, I don't see the game of the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I don't think you can, right? Like, you start looking at stretch run, man, that stretch gets long, right? I mean, it gets really long, and I don't think, as a 45-year-old man, I'm not ready to I'm not mature enough or have the bandwidth to say I'm going to get ready for the stretch run, because it's too long. I was on the way over here, I was listening to the radio, and then somebody was talking about running a marathon and whatever, and all I could think about was like, God, that sounds terrible. I mean, that sounds awful. I have no desire, never have. And maybe that's a personal fault, but like that sort of distance is not for me. And I think that that's the way a lot of our guys are, right? You start thinking about that, it gets to be too tough. But if you can break it down into each practice, each week, that sort of thing, it allows you to be able to perform at a high level longer.
That being said, are all your goals still in front of you?
Absolutely.
Are you at least telling your guys that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And no, we haven't talked about that, but yeah, our goals are certainly still in front of us. I think it does help that, we don't necessarily talk about records or anything like that as goals, like I've talked about many times. But we can still accomplish anything that we'd want to accomplish, and still, I know you guys hate it, but still each week you have a goal, and that goal is to win that week. That goal is to get better and grow and play your best football that week. Obviously, we did not reach that goal this past week, but we have an opportunity to do that this week.
This past week, there seemed to be some issues in the red zone, particularly in short yardage situations. What do you need to work on this week in preparation for JMU and their defense?
Well, I think a little bit of it, obviously you got to win with your man, and we did that on the last red zone touchdown. If you go back and you watch that play, there was a lot of push, and we won with our man on that one, so there was some improvement even throughout that game. But I think one of the things that we did not do a great job of across the board last week is we didn't communicate very well, and there wasn't detailed communication across the board. We have too many issues where maybe there was a signal issue, or maybe there was a communication on which guy we were going to, or exactly how we were going to play this coverage or things like that. We had too many of those. And unfortunately, that was one thing I knew we needed to work on, and we didn't take the stride in that one. We didn't take that step. So I'm very confident that'll get fixed, and not only from our coaches but from our leaders, that's going to get fixed. And so from that, it allows us to play aggressive and move some people and win some one-on-ones.
If you look at your starting lineups every week on both sides of the ball, it's pretty startling to see how many repeat offenders you have there. Mm-hmm. Is it easy to take that for granted, and to what do you attribute that?
Well, I attribute it to a number of different things. One, I attribute to the kids, right? We have some tough kids who are able to play through the nicks and bruises that happen in a normal football season. I attribute it to Coach Snodgrass in the off season, getting the guys ready to go and building up some body armor and some toughness in order to be able to do that. I attribute it to Justin and our training staff of getting guys ready to go each and every week. And I attribute to our coaches of teaching proper technique and fundamentals in order to keep guys healthy as well. But I do think a lot of it has to go to our players. I mean, they're doing a nice job in recovery. They're taking care of their bodies. They're getting more sleep. They're eating more. They're doing those sort of things that's allowing them to play more. But you also, let's just call a spade a spade. You got to be tough, right? I mean, you're not going to 100% in this game, ever. And I'm not saying that you are in other sports, because you're not mainly in those other sports due to the amount of games, right? Like, you play 40, 50 games in basketball and baseball, you're gonna have a hard time being 100%. But in football, just the physical impact that practice and the games take on you, there's some toughness required to that.
Last time you guys were at Bridgeforth Stadium, really emotional game that was really down to the wire. I know different teams, but what do you take away from a game like that outside of the result? What do you remember?
I remember losing. I don't know. I remember us having some opportunities to win the game, and we didn't take advantage of them. I remember it being a good environment and a fun place to be, fun place to play. And it feeling like a really good college football environment. So that's, I'm looking forward to that, and I know our guys are too.
Have you had a chance to talk with Coach Franklin?
Yeah, I'll keep that private between us, but yeah, of course. I mean, guy means the world to me, right? He's the godfather of my youngest son. I mean, he's essentially, him and a couple other people are essentially one of the reasons that my career has gone in a positive direction in terms of coaching. And I I think that maybe that's the thing that people don't quite understand is like the amount of impact that man has had and the amount of people he's had it on is pretty remarkable. And, I think that the one thing I would say on all that is this is like, we all know his business and he would know it's a business too. I think, it's tough for the people who are left over there. Coach Smith in particular, Terry, who's now the interim head coach. I mean, you got to think about this now. Terry went there, right? Sons played there. And he was one of 2 coaches that we hired that didn't come over from Vanderbilt, right? And he was with us from day one at Penn State, and he's been with Coach Franklin from day one all the way here. He's a lone soldier on the field for that. And I know how much he respects Coach Franklin and how much, all those, he feels and a lot of those people feel that, we could have done more to help Coach Franklin out. But now it's his responsibility to also lead a program and a university that he loves dearly. And it's an opportunity of a lifetime for him. I can't even imagine the mix of emotions going through Coach Smith, who is a great man and I know will do a great job.
Are you a patient driving a truck?
No, I'm not. I'm going to be very honest. I thought my wife would be the worst driving instructor in the world, and she is awesome. I think she thought she was going to be terrible. Here's why I thought that. No, my wife is the worst right seat driver in the country when I am driving. Now, I think now I have to take some stock and realize that maybe I'm a bad driver and that maybe she just is yelling at a bad driver and my son's just a better driver than I am. I don't like to admit that, and I will not admit that. But I think we all have to, at this point, the information available would tell me to do some self-reflection and see that maybe I need to improve.
I'm assuming A-type.
What's that?
I'm assuming A-type.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, she does, and anybody who knows my wife knows this. She has, like, there is a right way and a wrong way to get to every place on the planet, and it depends on the type, depends on the day, it depends on the weather, depends on who you have with you, it depends on a number of different things. I, on the other hand, I know I've been here for 6 years. I am going to follow that blue line wherever it tells me to go. I do not know how to get anywhere in this city other than my home, period. So other than, but my wife is the other way around, so she knows everywhere, and she literally, we probably should start a GPS just for her. She could probably rock it pretty good.
From the outside world, I think most people would say the game against JMU is very big in terms of what's going to happen in the Sun Belt. When you look at that, how do you not let that pressure mount? You come off a loss, you don't let things snowball or add pressure to you.
I mean, every week is pressure, right? I mean, there's no week where I go into that week saying, if we win, we win. If we lose, I mean, no. Every week is immense pressure because it's an opportunity to win that game. It's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to do those sort of things. And I think this week is another great reminder. The amount that as coaches and players and even you guys, how much we all sacrifice time and things like that. Every week's pressure, right? I mean, it in order to make it all worth it, you have to have that pressure on yourself. So I don't think there's any added pressure just because of that. It's pressure each and every week.
Anything else for Coach? All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Left tackle, Zach Barlev. James, you want to start us off with that?
Yeah.
All right, man. First things first, you guys haven't had the taste of a loss in a little while. So how did the team handle that? Coach Rahne said it was a quiet plane ride back.
Yeah, I mean, bus ride to the airport, playing in the airport, and then coming home is just. It's what you expect after a loss like that. I mean, you got to take it to the chin and just look forward to next week.
When it comes to that team, the Marshall team, a lot better than their record indicated. I know they had a quarterback change a couple weeks into the season, but that environment has been a tough place for you guys to play. What was the biggest obstacle going into that game?
There's no really big obstacles going into the game. Just in the game, we just made a lot of little mistakes, and that's what happens when you play a pretty good team. You can't make those little mistakes.
Coach was talking about the turnovers and not playing too tentatively or playing too fast and loose. As an offense, how do you guys find a balance between those two things?
I mean, we got to protect everything. The balls are everything. I mean, you can't. We're not even on the field if we don't have the ball, so we can't score if we're not on the field. So, I mean, we got to make sure for the rest of the week, for the rest of the year, we got to make sure we protect that ball.
You also talked about how you guys kind of reset it fairly quickly, text messages and stuff. He says he's seen in more years more this year with this team. What does that say about you guys and your ability to really kind of focus on what's next?
I mean, yeah, it says a lot for us. I mean, like I said, you got to take. Sometimes you got to getting punched in the chin. You got to take it, and you just got to look forward to next week. Hey, that happened. We can't just go back in the past and change it. It is what it is. We just got to learn from what we did wrong and take it to JMU.
Speaking of JMU, tied for the fourth best team defense in the country, right? As somebody who's going to be up there trying to stop that, what do you see out of that defense?
They're a hard-nosed physical defense, and their main thing is to try and stop the run. I think a lot of teams they've played have barely even got over 100 yards rushing. I mean, our main thing is we got to try and run the ball.
This was a pretty established offensive line coming in, plus one 80-year-old dude. Looking around the offense as a whole, and really the team, both sides as a whole, everybody, you got the same guys starting every game. How much does that help in terms of chemistry on the field during a game?
Oh, it helps a lot. I mean, again, we've had this line for a while now. Even in spring ball, we've had this line stay the same since spring ball through fall camp, and even now we have maintained to stay healthy, and also just the chemistry with that is it's huge to have people that you can play with and you've played with for the last 4 or 5 games you can trust by your side.
And behind you.
Yeah.
We talked to Coach Rahne about maybe some of the issues this past week in terms of the red zone offense and short yardage. From your point of view, what do you guys need to work on this week as you go against that JMU defense?
We just got to be physical. I mean, again, like I said, they're a physical defense. We have to out-physical them. They're going to be a tough D-line we're going to face this week. We just got to make sure we can establish our run game.
Do you guys think about, and I know the answer, but do you think about the big picture and what you have to do from here on out after this loss?
Yeah, we just got to win the next day. Like you knew what he was going to say. It was like we got to be 1-0. So even we lost on Saturday, we got 24 hours, and Sunday we have to flush it from our minds. We got to win that Sunday night practice, and then win today. We got to win our nutrition, win our recovery, and then hopefully by tomorrow we just have a great practice.
How was it practicing in a hurricane?
It's fun. Best rain team in the country.
That's what Ricky said.
Yep.
Anything else for Zach?
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Seth Naotala. Seth already has a career-high 30 tackles. Former JMU Duke, came to us last year. We'll open it up again. James, want to start us off with Seth?
Yeah, Seth, so, I mean, like Eric just said, former Duke, right? So when you go into this royal rivalry at Bridgeforth, right, what do you think of when you think of that?
Man, it's crazy. So many memories at Bridgeforth, from practices to games on the home side, and now it's exciting to be in that stadium. Because personally, I love home games and have the fan support, but I also I think I like away games better, just going into that hostile atmosphere. And JMU has a really good fan base, and just playing in that type of environment and just bringing back the win at their home would just mean a lot to me.
You played in that game 2 years ago for JMU, correct?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
What are your memories of that game?
I just remember like at the beginning of the game, it was like the fog machine went off too much. So and it was like late October, like Halloween too, and it was a night game, and it was just like the fog clearing out, and like there's a lot of anticipation about a good game is about to happen, and that's what happened. And this time we're looking to see the result reversed.
You got a lot of friends over there?
Yeah, I still know a lot of the guys on the team. I'm looking forward to seeing them during the game, and but for now it's just prepare for them this week.
Do you almost feel like you're a cheat code to some degree because you have an idea from the other side what it's going to be like? Does that help you guys in any way, shape, or form going in?
Not as much because the coaching staff switched. Signetti went to Indiana, and then Chesney, he's there, and then I think their defensive staff even switched after this last year, and so not as much. Not as much.
Seth, can you talk a little bit about how you got here? Or, if I remember correctly, it was the summer and you weren't scheduled to play. How did you wind up coming here?
Yeah, so originally I had planned to just be done with football after my senior year, but then my dad convinced me to just stay the course because I had 2 years of eligibility left. And so I did spring ball with Chesney at JMU, and unfortunately they said it was too many people on scholarship that had already graduated. And so they let me go. But I mean, my mindset was just like, okay, I'm gonna just do everything I can to the best of my ability, and the result is the result, and it's in God's hands. And obviously, like me at that point, like I didn't know what was going, but I just put my best foot forward. And so like I was fine. I was doing the summer. I didn't work out at all. And then season starts a week before the season. The weekend before the season, my dad comes home and asks me like, "Hey, you want to play football?" And I'm like, I'm upside down on the couch, like on my phone, and I just move my phone to see my dad asking me if I want to play football, and I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then so then Tuesday was the first practice. I do a G squad practice, and then Friday I'm on the plane to South Carolina. It was pretty crazy. Pretty crazy story.
And you played at South Carolina.
Yeah, I took a kickoff return snap. I didn't even know what I was doing out there.
This season, the linebacking group today looks very different than what we expected in August, but it speaks to the next man up mentality. Can you tell us a little bit about those guys in the room?
Yeah, and so personally for me, like I said earlier at JMU, like all 4 years, it was just show up every day, do everything to the best of my ability, control what I can control. And so that's what I've done. That's what I keep doing. And so, I came into this camp being the third string linebacker. I was preparing like I was going to play every single game. And that just goes to, it just synergizes with Coach Siler's message of, next man up mentality. We know like Cole just got hurt. We had some couple of injuries at receiver, even not just defense, but like team overall. Like someone gets hurt, like we have all the confidence in whoever steps up to the plate next. The standard is the standard.
Even with those injuries, you guys have been remarkably consistent in terms of who started on both sides of the ball. How much of a luxury is that to look around and be able to trust the guys on the field besides you?
It doesn't come from nothing. Coach Rahne talks a lot about confidence and that want-to-know mentality, winning every single thing. It just builds a confidence that's like unshakable. We're not focused on what we accomplished yesterday, what we accomplished last week, it's always like, okay, how can I attack today? And then just the, what's the word? How that builds up, it builds up into that trust to saying, like, whoever I play next to, like, I know he's going to do his 1-11. And even like I'm saying that, and we just lost to Marshall. Okay, it's 1-0 every day. I trust, okay, it's a new day, it's a new week. I trust, like, my trust in any of my teammates hasn't wavered at all.
Anything else for Seth?
Yeah, what did that rain do to your hair last night?
It wasn't really the rain. I washed my hair last night, and then I took it out before we drove here on the car, so the wind was blowing in my hair.
So it wasn't too bad?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Is it hard to be playing for one team 1 year and then playing against them the next, emotionally? I mean...
No, I was... yesterday, when I was getting interviewed, I was saying it it felt like practice actually. Just going against like those guys, you go against them all the time in practice, and then once you like in a game situation, even though it is a game, it's still like those same guys, and so yeah.
No animosity from the JMU players, they're supportive of you.
No.
Yeah.
Thanks, Seth.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Seth.
Appreciate it, man.